Welcome to the Clear's Mud Podcast. I'm River. Tonight I am joined by Seth.
Hello. Hello, Governor.
Hello, Governor. And Gigi Hearts.
Hi.
You know, that's actually kind of
Our local
appropriate,
pimp.
Seth. You didn't know this, but I'm actually drinking English breakfast tea this evening.
Oh. Yeah, I prefer myself an Earl Grey. You know.
I do too, but I was trying something a little bit different. I was trying not to be such in a rut. But anyway, before we get into all this, guys, we need to give Gigi a few minutes. She's got something that has got her knickers in a knot, and she wants to unload and vent. So I'm going to turn it over to Gigi. Darling, vent and let your little heart sing.
Okay. Now, I'm not going to name any names here. Actually, apologies. I'm not going to name any names here, but a certain podcast co-host ruined a certain movie by stating that he went to see said movie and that he was going to talk about it but not give any spoilers, and then proceeded to give an entire synopsis of what happens in the movie, including how it ends, and then claims that it is not a spoiler because he didn't say any of the jokes. And like, la-di-da, but some of us were excited to find out what the movie was about, okay? Some of us have avoided trailers, and some of us trusted you when you said no spoilers. And some of us are now heartbroken.
I have a question. Would this somebody have purple hair and be from Australia?
Perhaps that is a certain somebody.
Oh, shit.
And we used to have a feud, and it was settled, but now I feel like it's just been revived. So that's where we're at. So I've decided to wear my Barbie outfit here. We have Peepaw says this is a pimp jacket, but I will have you know it is Barbie. Well, who's a bigger pimp than Barbie? Barbie.
Okay, so makes you a question. Did you go see the movie?
No, because it was ruined for me. I'm not going to go pay $15 to see something that I already know what happens. What do I look like? I look like I'm made of money?
Well, I don't know necessarily if it's about made of money, but I mean, I wouldn't let one person's take on a movie if it was something you were going to watch.
That was the thing. It wasn't a take. If what he had said was, I saw the movie and I didn't like it, guess what? Not a spoiler. That's not what happened. He said, hey, in the movie, this happens, and then this happens, and then this is how it's resolved.
Let me ask you a question. Was this live?
Was this live? You know, Peepaw, that's a very suspect question to ask your autistic friend Gigi, who you know is never sure if things are live or not. I'm going to say maybe. It was live because I wasn't the only one upset about it. Purple and maggots were on my side about this. That's right.
All right.
There are dozens of us.
Here's what I'll say. If you're watching a stream or a VOD after the fact or whatever, and the person starts talking about a movie that you're wanting to go see, just Alt F4.
He said no spoilers.
It doesn't matter. Listen,
I'm going to talk about the Barbie movie.
Listen, okay, we're talking about Mitch here, and I like Mitch, right?
No,
I'm not going to name any names.
My mistake was trusting a man.
Well,
that's right.
Well, be that as it may. Listen, now I name names. I'm not one of these. I don't do this subtweet bullshit. If we're going to talk, we're going to talk. Now, it's Mitch, and God love him. You can't take Mitch.
No, I've learned my lessons. Men, Australians, people. You know, I'm with Nisi on this one. She needs to go over there. Send her flying monkeys, you know.
Oh, Lord, do not invoke that name. That woman, she needs Jesus. She needs Jesus. God, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Well, does she need Jesus or does she need Odin? Because I feel like it would be more respectful to say she needs Odin.
Okay,
Well,
speaking of Odin,
help.
let me just bring this up right now, okay?
Yeah.
I played Final Fantasy 16.
Okay.
today.
Ooh.
All right.
That
How'd
was
that
the
go
best
for you?
fight of the game.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a good game. It's a good game. I will say, gameplay a little bit too much like Devil May Cry, but I can't hate on it. I can't hate on it because it's a good fighting system.
Cool.
Good game. Good game. You know what that game doesn't have though that we have?
What's that?
Yeah. What's
Aliens, dude.
Aliens. Yes.
that? Oh,
And this was
masterful transition, Seth.
this
Yeah.
this artwork here was masterfully created by the one and only Seth. I think she did a really good job, and I've been a little bit derelict, and I didn't. Last week's or Sunday's thumbnail stuff was done by
Jack Johnson.
yes. I put his information stuff in the link underneath the video and the VOD. There, it's there. So if you're needing some artwork and stuff, he does all kinds of stuff. He does, thumbnails. I think he even does like assets and stuff for like if you're a streamer and stuff and you're wanting some assets. I think he does assets for for that as well. But he's a very talented person, very talented individual, and so if you're looking for something like it, 100% give him a look. All right, so let's talk about these aliens. So Congress had some hearings, and this former Navy commander David, I guess you say his name, Grush, he's testifying or whatever, and anyway, let's listen to the testimony, and then we can kind of talk about some of this stuff.
Intelligent extraterrestrials.
Something I can't discuss in public setting.
Okay, I can't ask when you think this occurred. If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries. Yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
And was this documentary evidence, this video, photos, eyewitness? Like, how would that be determined?
The specific documentation I would have to talk to you in a skiff about.
Gotcha. Okay, so, and you may or may not be able to answer my last question, and maybe we get into a skiff at the next hearing that we have, but who in the government, either what agency, sub-agency, what contractors, who should be called into the next hearing about UAPs, either in a public setting or even in a private setting? And you probably can't name names, but what agencies or organizations, contractors, et cetera, do we need to call in to get these questions answered, whether it's about funding, what programs are happening, and what's out there?
I can give you a specific cooperative and hostile witness list of specific individuals that were in those.
And how soon can we get that list?
I'm happy to provide that to you after the hearing.
Super.
All right. So that's one of the little sound bites or whatever clips, whatever we're going to call it, from the hearings. So we've got some more to look at and people's reactions or whatever. But what are your thoughts, ladies? Why are we talking about this all of a sudden again?
I don't know, okay, because this is nothing different than any other kind of alien thing we've had, right? Where it's like, it's just someone saying, we have this, right? There's like no real proof except, I mean, I guess it's someone saying it under oath, which I'm sure that's been done before.
Well, back under the when Trump was former President Trump was in office, he declassified a bunch of documents that confirmed that that these UFOs, that these UAPs, that as they also call them, were real as well, right? So I mean, that's kind of what kickstarted all of this stuff here recently, correct?
I don't think that that's what kicked this off. I think it was the most recent sighting that kicked this off. I don't know that this is the same as other times. Can I say? Because like I feel like aliens. And Seth, you're a military person, although different military, and the rules are very different. If you've ever talked to military people, especially Air Force and Navy, they tell you they see all kinds of things, and they won't tell you what they saw, which is
So
real
here's the
creepy.
thing, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Like it is like a fucking open secret. Like these things
Yeah.
are real. I've
Mm-hmm.
never spoken to a single pilot who hasn't like fucking seen something, you know?
Yeah, or so my father-in-law is a marine biologist. Was a marine biologist. He's retired. And he talks about all the kinds of things that you see way out in the ocean, away from everything, both under the water and above it. And he says, you know, you're not allowed to talk about it. You just kind of turn to your buddy and go, "Do you see that?" He goes, "Yep." And then you never talk about it again, because if you talk about it, what's gonna happen? You're gonna go. They're gonna put you into a psych ward and all that kind of stuff. Like you can't be realistically, right, like a respected military general and be out here saying there's aliens, right? So I think this is different. And I suspect that there's just been like too many sightings for them to continue to try to hide it. Like there were those 2 weather balloons, and I think I put it in the topic chat, that clip from Vegas. And there's been a couple. So I feel like it's just coming down to either our government tells us about it, or the aliens are gonna, you know, walk right up to us and tell us themselves. So kind of what I'm guessing.
So you believe
I
that?
think
So
we've had
so
respectable people talk about this before.
so here's my question, and I'll pose it to each one of you, and just simple yes or no. Seth, do you believe that there are non-terrestrial?
I know there are aliens, for fuck's sake.
Okay, you know for a fact.
I know, dude.
Okay. All right, Gigi, do you believe that there are non-terrestrials among us?
100%. But I think if the question is, yeah, the Among Us question is the one. Are there aliens? 100% yes. Are they on Earth? I think it depends which conspiracy theory you're talking about, because, you know, I haven't completely let go of the lizard people. I saw that clip of Justin Bieber flipping his eyelids, and I was like, I've never seen another person do that, but, you know.
Okay. Well, here's what I will say. Are they among us? Possibly. Among us, yes, among us.
So
Being suspicious.
Being suspicious. Are they among us?
venting
Possibly.
right now, guys.
Possibly. I definitely believe that there are other. There has to be other life forms out there. I think it's very. I think it's human of us to think that we are the only ones that could exist or could be alive. You know. Because space is so vast, right? And we know none of it. We know none of it, and that's the thing that's, you know. Now the real question then actually comes down to, is this a deal where just because there's other life forms out there, does that mean that they have the technology to be able to traverse light years and travel and come to Earth? I don't know. It's possible, I guess. I really don't know. Anyway.
What do you believe in terms of the universe, that the Earth is old or young? Like, it seems like it's pretty clear that they've made it here in some capacity. From how far away? Personally, I hope really far away.
Yeah.
Because, and this is obviously me applying human nature to beings that very well probably don't have what we would call humanity. But I would imagine that if they're stronger than us, then we're just going to be slaves, because that's what humans do when they encounter new things, right? They subjugate. subjugate and dominate or extinction. That's what happens. So I'm
Yeah, but humans
nervous,
are
quite
also,
frankly.
you know, bring it.
That's a different question.
I don't
Are
know.
humans a warring species? That's a topic for another podcast, I'd say.
Yeah, I reckon it is. I don't know. I think we have more technology than the general public is aware of, and that makes me believe that it's not unlikely that what we're seeing is aliens. Hold on, I'm pouring me a cold one.
Before you go. All right. Well, so while Seth's doing that, so this is the video here that Gigi was referencing earlier. This is coming from Las Vegas, where, and I remember covering this on my morning stream one morning. There was a really bright light that looked like landed right into the backyard of these family. Las Vegas Police Department stuff was dispatched to it. And there was body cam footage and stuff like that. But let's take a look at this.
It was the streak seen across the sky, now seen around the world. This, as our 8 News Now investigators confirm, Metro actually set up cameras at this home where a family called 911 claiming to see aliens in their backyard. And tonight, a fierce debate is underway about the legitimacy of an alleged UFO crash. Good evening, I'm Janice Valdez.
And I'm Brian Loftus. Our 8 News Now investigators reporting about terrified members of a local family who told police they had aliens in their backyard. Chief Investigator George Knapp here to piece it all together.
You know, as with all things UFO, the public debate.
That dude kind of looks like an alien.
Sure.
I mean, I don't mean to be
George Knapp?
mean, but he's a little weird looking, you know, so.
Yeah, George Knapp ain't the normalest person out there.
Yeah. So, but anyway,
Listen, if we're guessing who's an alien, Steve Buscemi has been telling us he's not from here for years.
No,
Well-
but he's too cool to be an alien. Like he's just cool.
He's too cool not to be an alien, I say.
well, according
You know who's a
to
fucking alien?
our poll we have running right now, Seth is leading the poll as not being human
Okay, well I voted Gigi.
with 57%. Gigi is at 29%, and then yours truly is only at 14%.
You know, I
So-
knew a fucking Romanian guy who said that all Aryan people were aliens who'd come down to Earth to like guide us, and that's why we should kill everyone who wasn't Aryan.
God,
So I
Jesus.
feel like maybe I am an alien.
Was his name Mitch? I mean Hitler?
Oh, he's Romanian.
Oh, that's right. You did
Although
say
Mitch
that.
could be Romanian.
Dun dun dun.
Exactly, 100%.
He might be an illegal alien.
That's right.
All right, so anyway, we got a couple of more videos here we're going to take a look at. And this here says, and the government really announces that aliens exist and nobody is phased. Well, we've lived through a pandemic and everything else over the last few years. I don't think aliens being divulged living here on planet, or visiting planet Earth is necessarily a shocker, shall we say.
Is that aliens exist and nobody is phased.
That is literally because nobody is getting paid enough to care to come here. At this point, we're tired of living through historical events like every other week, right? Rent, too high. Groceries, too expensive. Gas, way too pricey, right? It is like the 4th day in a row where it's been 110 degrees. The alien thing is like on the back of the list right now. Somebody sent me the legitimate recipe for Texas Roadhouse's honey butter. And that was more important than the alien thing. I mean, I'll tell you guys how to make it so you can use it for your morning toast. 1 stick of salted butter. Come here. You want to leave this out for about an hour before you use it, okay? Use that. Then you're going to have 1.5 tablespoons of honey and then 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon. And if you really want to make it good, a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar. Mix that around. You got yourself the honey butter.
Is that aliens exist.
First of all, I'm making that honey butter. That sounds delicious.
Dude, that sounds pretty good. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
But
Oh,
he's
it's true.
right.
He's
As
on
a
to something.
Yeah, I feel like, and I know that this is what all of us millennials say, and I realize I'm the only millennial on this podcast at the moment, but like, what the fuck? Like, I really feel like we got the short end of the stick. Like, everything is 9/11, the fucking
Wait, what is a
pandemic,
millennial again? Because I feel like we had this conversation.
1982 to 1996 is
Well,
millennial.
mm,
Yep. So I
okay.
think that makes you Gen Z, and I believe that makes Peapod Gen X out
That's
here
right.
like
Just
he's
call
a
me.
boomer.
Just call me Twitter. Or now X. I'm a X. I'll do the X thing. So
It's true. Every time I see the Twitter logo, I think of that like Pepsi commercial that was like Generation Next. Yeah, and I am aging myself because I know that's like a 20-year-old commercial at this point. But that's what I always think of.
Yeah.
I don't like
Here-
it. I'm not a fan.
So this is coming from. This is a short from Philly D. Let's see what I haven't even watched this yet, but this is something that Gigi queued up for us tonight.
Former intelligence officer testified in front of the United States Congress today that the U.S. is in possession of alien bodies and UFOs. The officer claiming that non-human technologies
I'm
have injured
millennial
humans
though.
and that the U.S. government became a...
millennial.
What do you
You're a
mean,
millennial?
Seth?
Yeah,
Are you? What's your birth year?
1994, I think.
Then
Right?
yeah, you're a
think?
millennial.
Whoa, hang on. No, that's not the takeaway. She thinks it's 1994.
You heard her say she was
well-
opening a cold one. We don't need to know.
Listen, so here's the thing, right? I don't want to like fucking have to look at it, but I just did the math in my head. If I'm 29 now, it was 1994.
Okay.
Oh. Seth dropping personal details, everybody. She's 29.
Oh, Lord.
aware of aliens in the 1930s. He also says he's seen a video of a UFO being shot down and that the U.S. government has a program to retrieve crashed UFOs and reverse engineer them. He also refused to say publicly if the U.S. has communicated with aliens, and claiming that since coming forward about UFOs, he's had to fear for his life. The officer also alleging that the U.S. government is conducting a disinformation campaign targeted towards Americans about UFOs. But also with this, you have people saying extraordinary claims require extraordinary amounts of evidence. So follow to stay in the loop. A former intelligence officer testified in front...
Shut up. Gosh, that's enough,
Yeah.
Philly D.
So and I think there is a clip of it, but the main thing he said that I think people are focusing in on is when she says, "Did we recover the bodies of the pilots of the planes? Are they biological?" And they confirm yes, they're biological. And would you say they're human or non-human? He says non-human. So non-human biologic confirmed. So even if they were alien crafts, now we're saying that they're alien bodies, and that's new
I'm
to
sorry,
me.
but like, that's not new to me at all. Right? As someone who's delved deep into the alien lore, okay, me and my buddy
Yeah.
went down this pipeline for a couple of months because he's autistic and schizophrenic possibly. I've seen some shit, okay, and I mean, even in the military, I saw some shit. I didn't see bodies or nothing, but you know, there's like this guy called Louis Elizondo or something like that, and he was like in ATIP, and he's been saying we have bodies and crafts like for years now, dude. Like it
I
ain't
could see
new to
that.
me, bro.
Well, I don't know, man. That's scary.
You guys are probably not
Scary.
old enough to remember this, but this was, I think, in maybe somewhere in the. Let me see if I can clear the fog away. I want to think this was in sometime in the mid to late 80s.
Ooh, is
There was
it the Virginia Lights?
No.
Mm.
There was a video that was released that supposedly had been snuck out of Roswell from when the UFO crashed there in was it the 50s? And they did an autopsy on the alien bodies that they found inside of this unidentified object, whatever, right? And this video got leaked out and was shown. and people were trying to debunk it, like, was this like Hollywood special effects and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, you guys probably don't remember this, right?
I don't remember anything about that.
I sort of know what you're talking about.
JS in chat says, I thought that was proven fake. It probably was JFA. I don't remember, because two things. When this came out, I love Jesus, but I drinks a bit, and so I was drinking a lot back then. I was like right then. I was like a junior or senior in high school, and I may have went to a few parties and had I might have even smoked a little something. So, but I remember this being a thing. I don't know. I'm not going to look for it on YouTube or whatever, but
sure.
Yeah. So I bet you there was. I guarantee you there was probably some videos. It's probably on YouTube where you could go find it. But I remember this broke. I mean, national news ate it up. It was a thing. I mean, it took over the news cycle for a while. So anyway, bottom line is, it would not shock nor surprise me one iota if they had, if there was crashed alien vessels, that the technology that they got out of there is, them reverse engineering and stuff, is what led to us having the computer age that we've had over the last, because as a person from IT, they jumped really fast and quick and went from the computer that was run from they were, the computers they first started developing and stuff back in the oh God, when did they start developing? Like the 60s, I think it was. Took up entire rooms and were ran off of test tube, or these little vacuum tubes, not test tubes.
I mean, all you have
vacuum
to,
tubes.
All you have to think about is look at how big Deep Blue was, and now you got
Yes.
the stuck fish in your fucking phone,
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's so it would not shock or surprise me if that's the something like that, because like I said, we've made some really big technological jumps and stuff, so it's very well possible. So anyway, before we move away, do either one of you guys have any closing thoughts about this story? Or
aliens are real?
Oh yeah, can you
It
show
has been an open secret in the military for a long time.
I want to show the video that I just sent you on the Phoenix Lights. So this was one that, as far as I know, is still unexplained, that I thought was really cool. And I'm like, how come I've heard about Roswell and all these other things, but no one ever talks about this one? And I think it's because most people have just accepted that it was aliens and we all just moved on.
Okay.
But yeah.
All right, well, here we go. Let's watch it.
Today marks 26 years since the mysterious Phoenix Lights appeared over the valley.
And we still don't know what it was, but there are plenty of theories out there. It was the evening of March 13th, 1997. People across Arizona, especially here in the valley, reported seeing a silent, miles-long V-shaped group of lights gliding quietly overhead. Was it a military mission, a prank perhaps, or visitors from outer space? The questions and confusion over the sighting have only grown during the prevailing years.
Now, of course, we're much more open to it recently as being real, and the Phoenix Lights is one of the premier mass sightings that they're looking at as being authentic, because thousands of people saw these massive craft or objects hover right over them, glide right over them, rooftop level. Some people said they could have thrown a stone at it. It was that close.
I'm going with...
And I remember that too. I guess that's one of the benefits of being old, right? You just get to remember all that stuff. So who's joining us there? Gigi, who is the new
This is my
co-host?
son.
That's your son?
His name is Saitama.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Nerd.
And he's a wiener. Look. Yeah.
Saitama?
Call him Saitama?
So he only gets called that when he's in trouble. Most of the time it's Saitama. When he's in trouble, it's Saitama, right? Like all proper like. And he
Hang on.
thinks he's a big dog,
Is
but he
this
not.
is this some anime name or something?
Yeah,
Character
some
name?
anime
Yes,
bullshit.
yes. So his full name is Ignacio Saitama Doxen, so that all of his records can say I,
Ignacio, dude, that's a name with power in it.
isn't it? Because he's still Puerto Rican. So that all his records can say IS Doxen. Yeah.
Aw, he's
I
very
know.
cute.
I don't even know how to segue into this story from all that. I don't know.
Okay, so speaking of good boys,
Oh, boys.
and cliffs and stuff.
Okay. All right. So this next story, guys, is it's a sad story. But this Alba and Preach just did a video on this. Not too. I don't know. I think it came out. Maybe was it today or yesterday? I watched it. Then Gigi had put it in the docket, wanting to talk about this evening. And as a woman, I can understand why she'd want to talk about this. So the video here is coming from us. This clip or whatever's coming is from Inside Edition. It's a little over a minute long. We'll watch it and then we'll discuss and talk about this after the fact.
Now learn the identity of the American tourist killed while on vacation at a popular destination in Germany. The woman is 21-year-old Eva Liu, who just last month graduated from the University of Illinois with both a Bachelor and Master of Computer Science.
Eva Liu.
She was ready to start a job at Microsoft and went to Germany for a graduation trip. Authorities say she and her friend, fellow University of Illinois grad Kelsey Chang, were lured to a lookout point with a spectacular view of Neuschwanstein Castle, a famous 19th century Bavarian palace. It was also featured in the 1968 musical Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Authorities arrested this 30-year-old American who they say attempted to sexually assault Eva Liu before pushing both women 165 feet off a cliff. Liu died from injuries suffered in the fall. Her friend survived.
Dude, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
So this clip is a little bit shorter. So firstly, the friend survived because she landed in a tree, and she actually survived with minor injuries, which is wild considering like she literally walked away from this, or was able to physically walk away from this. Obviously the trauma must be horrendous. If I'm smiling because I'm a nervous smiler before anyone thinks it's about the story. Yeah, and I know it's really horrendous. And the man is an American man, because I was like, a German man did that? That seems weird. And no, he's from Detroit. And I was like, that makes a lot more sense.
Can I stop for a second? Just 1 second.
Yes.
I don't like using the identifier of a man for this person. This is not a man. This is not what a man does. We can call him a piece of shit. We can call him a murderer. We can call him human garbage. We can call him whatever you want. Just not going to call him a man. So.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm really upset by this story because I don't really understand the logic here. And to me, it always seems to come down to a level of entitlement that a lot of male presenting people seem to have, of thinking that they have a right to a woman's body, and when they don't get that, they lose their minds. And in this case, this person had obviously a really bright future ahead of them. I'm sure that her family is devastated, and like possibly worst of all, if there is a worst of all in this story, is that 165 feet would have been enough time for her to know what happened and like be terrified. And so like her death was tragic and horrible for her. You know, she didn't even get the mercy of it being quick and painless. And for what? So it's really crazy. And it's one of the times where like I believe that German prisons are nicer than American prisons, and I'm not happy about that. Like, great, he gets to, and I don't think they have the death penalty either, but people can correct me. So this person lost her life at the start really of her life, and this other guy gets to sit in a better home than many homeless people have at the moment for the rest of his life. And that seems unfair. I think we should pull all of his toenails off and allow them to regrow and then pull them off again every day.
You
Till
know,
he dies.
I don't necessarily disagree with what you're saying. And the thing of it is a lot of people will say that are against, you know, the death penalty. I'm not against the death penalty at all. I think there should be some very stringent guidelines, and I think there should be some serious hoops that have to be jumped through. But I am pro death penalty. People who are anti-death penalty and stuff, they say, well, they'll live the rest of their life with the shame and have to live with the knowledge of whatever. I'm sorry, people like this that do things like this, they don't have a conscience. They don't have morals. They don't have the ethics. And so him spending the next, you know, he's 30 years old. So say he spends the next 50 years in a German prison. I guarantee he's not going to give, you know, this any thought. It's not going to weigh heavy on his mind, because these type of people, that's just not something that they do. So as far as the tortured stuff, I'm not a real big advocate of torture, but I don't know. I have nothing but compassion for this family that lost this bright shining star to her friends, and especially the friend that was there with her. She's going to live with that for the rest of her life.
I will just say also, in Germany, he's probably not going to be spending his whole life in prison.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
German prisons aren't as nice as our prisons, but they're still pretty fucking nice. So.
Well, I guarantee you it's not an American prison.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
No, in an American prison, I feel like the other prisoners would take care of him, especially given how young she was. Like, even prisoners, to my understanding, have a code, and
not when it comes to someone of that age. They wouldn't have cared. They would not care. The only thing that they would care is if he could be punked out and become somebody's sexual plaything. But it would have nothing to do with the fact that he murdered a 20-something-year-old girl. Now, if he had done something to a child, you know, a little kid, oh yeah, they nuke those type of people. But sadly, a 20-something-year-old girl, they would zero. They just don't care. So
I also think that, excuse me, it should be taken into consideration that, like, they showed the bridge in that clip, right? The railing on that clip on most of those people was up here. So a lot of articles say he pushed her. He did not push her. He had to have lifted them and thrown them over, which is like, at what point are you, like, it's so outside of my understanding of humanity. Like, I'm like, I eat meat. Could I do that to a chicken? I don't think I could, much less two whole ass people. It seems, I don't know. I don't think we should have to treat people like that, like people. I think that proves he's not a person. If you can do that, you're not people anymore, I think.
Yeah. I tend to agree. So anyway.
Yeah, I hope her family can. I mean, I don't even know, because I don't even feel like they're gonna get
Justice
in any way justice.
Yeah.
On top of their life being ruined, like his family's life is also ruined. You already saw his family getting harassed by news and media over it. When I get it, but also, like, what did his sister do? His sister was in America. What did she have to do with it, right? And so it's kind of,
Well, unfortunately, that's just news media. They
I know.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, like,
Anyway.
thoughts and prayers, I guess, which I guess is the worst thing to say, but I genuinely hope they can
Yeah. What else do
find
you
peace
say?
at some
You know?
point. Yeah.
It's a tragedy. 100% it's a tragedy. All right, Seth, do you have any closing thoughts on this story, or
No, I don't even know what to say. Like, fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But many people had to hear me rant about it yesterday. I was big
Yeah.
mad. I was
Yeah.
I get so upset at this kind of thing. Just like, dude,
Yeah.
just masturbate. It's not just, I don't, it's hard.
I don't understand that mindset. I mean, before I got married, I mean, what little game I had, I tried to pick up, different women and stuff, and I failed miserably many times, right? And it's okay. I mean, it's just part of the, I hate to refer to it as a game, but it's kind of a game. It's part of the dance, right? And what you have to look at it is not every shot you take is going to hit, and so that's just part of it. I mean, to me, just trying to hone your craft, I guess, is being, the term you guys call it now is rizzing, right? It's just learning how to be smooth and how to, but utmost thing I would tell a young man these days is to be respectful. To be respectful to the woman, and don't have a mindset of like a conquest, like this is someone to be conquested and that you are entitled to anything. Just, I don't know, be a decent human being. I mean, is it really that hard? I don't know. So I don't know.
Well, and this is also a topic for another show, but it has been pointed out that a lot of movies and television shows will kind of like promote this kind of stalker, creepy, persistent behavior. Like, oh, she said no, but if I just figure out what she likes and show up there, and like the same things done by someone you're attracted to, but done by someone you're not attracted to, are creepy. And I know that that's a meme, but it's also true. And so what if your whole life you were like, I'm going to get the girl because all I have to do is be persistent. And then you actually go talk to her and she's like, well, no, I'm not interested in you. We're not compatible. There's going to be people who become enraged by that. I'm not justifying it. I'm just wondering if part of it isn't the kind of messaging. Like, how many times in movies do we see someone get rejected and they're just like, oh, okay, cool. And like, because what's the story then, right? Like, but yeah, things to discuss yeah.
Or it could be you hook up with the person and you wind to come home and there's a rabbit boiling in your pet rabbit's boiling in a pot on the stove. So, there's that right, too, because she's crazier than a freaking shithouse
fatal
rat.
attraction.
There you go.
Wasn't the Lorena Bobbitt thing? Oh, this crowd might be too young for that one, but right, that's where she cut his dick off and like threw it by the side of the highway, and then the guy became a porn star.
Well, yeah, kinda. He was out sticking it where he shouldn't, and she got tired of it, and she cut it off and fled the house, and they found it and reattached it, and he made a porn. So anyway, there you go.
There you go.
J-Face, dick in a box. Exactly. What do you get for Christmas this year? Dick in a box. So, Oh, Lord. All right. So let's talk about something that I didn't know, I guess, was as big of an issue as it is. But evidently, according to Philip DeFranco over there on, Philly D News, this is an ongoing pandemic of monumental proportions here in the States.
And then, y'all, I hope you're enjoying this video, but before we continue, I just, the iPhone's gonna ask you a question really quick. That little interaction, at least in America, has become all too common. You're buying yourself a little juicy juice or whatever, and you get hit up for a tip. So much so, there have been more than a few videos, memes, and overall internet commentary regarding tip culture lately. And if you happen to hate it, know that you are not alone. With a recent bank rate survey finding that 66% of Americans actually have a negative view of tipping, and 30% say that tipping has gotten out of control. And instead of tipping, 41% of respondents in the survey say that companies should just pay their employees more. Which, of course, is not a new argument. That is an argument as old as tipping itself, right? It's the idea of, as a consumer, if tipping is part of the expected experience, just put what that money would be into the price of the thing they're buying, and then pay your employee an actual livable wage. But a lot of what we're looking at now, it came from the pandemic, right? Many customers began tipping in non-traditional spaces to show appreciation to the employees who were putting themselves at risk, something that has been argued has made those businesses reliant on that generosity. Jonathan Murdoch, a professor of public policy and economics at NYU, saying, with businesses still preparing for the possibility of a recession, they don't want to lock into higher wages. Tipping gives them more flexibility. But some argue that this reliance on tips is having a negative effect for employees, with the director of the Food Labor Research Center at UC Berkeley saying, employers think they're being smart by using tipping instead of raising wages. But really, they're risking losing staff because it's pissing consumers off and the employees are the ones who have to deal with it. And so with this story, I find myself...
All right. So that's to me, was some shocking numbers that, that basically 60% or 2 out of 3 Americans are sick and tired of the aggressiveness, sometimes I'll even say, of service personnel and this tipping thing, right? So, Seth, you come from another country. So what is the people in your country, what are their views on this? I mean, is it part of your culture over there or what?
Well, we don't do tipping, and that's just because in Denmark you get paid a living wage, right?
Okay.
It's just never been part of our culture.
Okay.
I'm
so
personally
when you say,
not against tipping though.
Okay, so I need to, I want, just from my own knowledge, whatever. You say a living wage, so you guys have fast food restaurants over there, right? I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so what does your typical fast food worker make in an hourly wage over there?
So let me do some calculations here, okay? Because obviously we get paid in another kind of currency. So
sure.
Pretty much the lowest wage you pretty much get in Denmark, even though the minimum wage is a bit lower, but it's around 120 Danish crowns, which is 17, closer to $18.
US dollars. Okay.
Yeah, US dollars.
All right. So for argument's sake, you're saying that minimum wage in Denmark is about 17 US dollars an hour.
Yeah, just about.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So go on.
Then you also you have to remember, right? It might not sound like a lot in Danish crowns that you get paid 100 an hour.
Yeah.
But housing here is generally cheaper unless you live in one of the really big cities. Which means that if you did a fast food job for the rest of your life, you could pretty much live in an apartment, get everything you want, without having to get tipped.
All right. So what is your tax rate?
Our tax rate, it depends what kind of tax bracket you're in. I don't know for others because I get a really good salary, so I'm pretty high up. My tax rate is about 38%.
38% of your gross, right?
My income, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, now when at the end of the year, right, the end of physical, when I say physical, I'm talking about the monetary, whatever. Do you guys have we have to do tax returns and stuff, or do you just pay? Yeah. Okay. So when you file your
April every year.
okay, so when you file your taxes, do you typically get any type of a refund, or do you get?
So first of all, no one in Denmark really does their own taxes.
Okay.
It's pretty much
Did you know?
automated.
Did y'all know this? That in other parts of the world, they do your
Yeah,
taxes and
they
then just
do
tell you how much you
your
owe.
taxes for you. Yeah.
The government does.
Yeah. None of
yeah.
this.
Okay.
Let's audit you thing. None of this. Let me turbo tax it. None of this paying people to do it. What the fuck, America? Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I don't want to get too much into your business, but I'm just trying to get some things in my head to kind of talk about this a bit. So in April, the Danish government comes to you and says, Seth, you paid X amount of taxes out of your paycheck however often you were paid. And so either A, you've overpaid, or B, you've underpaid. And so you owe more. So typically, do you get told you owe more, or do you get a little bit back?
I typically get maybe $200 back.
Okay. All right. All right. So, but you say you're in a more upper tax bracket, correct?
I'm in.
Okay.
I think the third tax bracket, and there's 4.
There's 4. Okay. So you're like one tier from being like the top of the tax bracket, right? Or the most withheld. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, some of the things that your taxes go towards is paying for like healthcare. So you don't pay anything for, like, you have no health insurance costs or anything like that, correct?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Oh, pause real quick, people. Seth, and if we were to get married, how long before these benefits apply to me? I feel like
as soon as the marriage goes through, although there's more to it. You're gonna have to learn Danish. They have like classes you have to go to if you're a foreigner.
I have to learn Danish. Oh no, that's too much effort.
Okay, so they have a national language over there that's required to be able to speak Danish before you qualify for any of the benefits of that country.
Well, no. It's just like, basically, if you apply for a marriage visa, they will set you up for classes, and then you have 3 tries to pass those classes so that you know a good amount of Danish so you can go around the system.
How much Danish? How difficult are these? Like, do you know a lot of expats from wherever who've?
I know. I mean, obviously, as someone who, like, I learned Polish before I learned Danish, and I don't think it was that hard.
Yeah.
But I also moved when I was really, really young, and then you catch language earlier. There's an Irish guy that I know who he didn't think it was that hard.
Yeah.
There's an American I also know, lived on our street growing up. He didn't think it was that hard.
Okay. So here's where it gets really weird, right? So the federal minimum wage in America is $7.25 or $7.50. I can never remember, but it's like maybe $7.50. I think. Let me double check that real quick. Let me Google this here.
But yeah, I know when I started working, the minimum wage was $6.25, and that's
$7.25. So $7.25 is the minimum wage here in the States. Okay. But then each state can actually have their own local laws, state laws that supersede that. Like, for example, here in Arkansas, where I live, the minimum wage is $11 an hour, right? Unless you are, and here's where it gets really squirrely, unless you are what is considered in the service industry, i.e. if you're like a waiter or waitress, right? And so you're dealing with the public and stuff. The businesses then can have your wages at a reduced cost. But here's a cost to that too, right? So they have to, though, make sure that you meet the minimum wage per hour. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means, so like if you're a waitress and they're saying they're paying you like 2.25, I think is what it is, or 2.5 is what the minimum wage is for wait staff. Okay. If you're not making enough tips, right, to equate to the $11 an hour, right, then your employer has to make up that difference.
Yeah. And
okay.
Here's the thing. I watched a lot of like Kitchen Nightmares and stuff, and I know
Yes.
that's not like
Yeah.
like representative, but
Oh, it's pretty representative.
some of them, some of
Yeah.
them make a lot of money on tips that make it so
Sure.
that
Sure.
I'm not like weeping for these people. I know a guy who works in Astoria.
Yeah.
It's a place in New York, and he works as a server,
Oh,
and he
wait,
makes
pause. It's a place in Queens. Like you just named a very
Queens. Sorry.
specific part of a specific part in
Yeah,
New
but
York.
I
which is
named
very
it specifically
interesting.
because it's not like what's it called? It's not like a cheap area per se.
Yeah, no, it's not. Astoria is
Yeah,
pretty nice.
and all he does is he does serving, and he makes enough to pay for his apartment and his fucking $600 melee controllers and shit. So that's based off of tips. So I'm not like weeping for these people that
Yeah.
don't get paid a lot minimum wage, because they usually make a good amount on tips.
But
Okay.
that's one guy at one restaurant. Like I can tell you, being from a lot of my experience with this directly would be through my friends in Florida, where the minimum wage is lower, and part of the reason they can't bring it up is because they're competing with undocumented workers, which are much more
Yeah.
common in a city like Miami, right? So if they raise the minimum wage to 11 or 15, which is what they've been talking about for years now, are those restaurants going to employ citizens, or are they going to employ undocumented workers that they can pay like half that?
Yeah.
And here
See,
in
that's
New
where
York,
it gets iffy.
yeah.
That's where it gets
Yeah.
iffy.
Here in
Okay,
New York, it's a
but-
lot easier to do that, but it's also like depends on the restaurants. And there's like times when there's questions like if you go to a bakery, right? Like part of me is like, well, this is a person and they got my pastry out of the cabinet, but like they didn't make it. Am I supposed to tip this person because they walked 4 feet to the left and picked up a cookie and then walked back 4 feet to the right? Like where's the line with tipping? Like I'd rather just know that they're good and I can get my cookie and be on my way. And if they go above and beyond, like if she took the cookie out of the case and like, wrote me a soliloquy, then sure, I'll give her $1 or whatever. But like, it's a thing where like, this is like the basic thing you're doing. Like Uber drivers, if they got you from point A to point B, why am I tipping them? You just did your job. All
Yeah.
you did was your job. So why am I paying you extra for that? And it's frustrating.
Like that's the difference, right? If you just get from point A to B, like it's still like that's perfect, like 4 stars or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you don't really tip them. But if they had like water for you in the car, if they had like fucking like sweets or something, that's when you tip, right?
Right.
It's like going the extra mile. So if you think your server really went like, checked on you, got you extra water without asking when you needed it, went above and beyond, then you should tip them. But but then the question is, right, that limit should still have them get a living wage then.
I
if we're
agree.
just basing it off of that.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's why personally I would like it to be in the wage, like have
Alright.
a living wage, but I
So
don't mind it.
here's the deal, right? So if there's been a lot of talk about increasing the national minimum wage to $15 an hour. Well, here's where that's problematic.
That is a little bit of a jump, I'd say.
So if somebody in the state of Arkansas is making $15 an hour because that's what the federal minimum wage is set to, that's actually a very decent wage. And there's a lot of people who have years of experience that's, and that basically circumvents all their years of experience, and the chances of them ever getting another raise goes to absolutely zero. Okay. But I understand if you're living in New York City, $15 an hour ain't jack shit and won't buy you a whole hell of a lot of nothing. So I understand that. It's location, 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 right? So my rule of thumb is this, and this is what really I'll just tell you, chafes me. On a rare occasion, if I am so inclined to go through and pay way too much money for coffee through some place like, say, a Starbucks, and they've got a fucking tip jar out there, fuck that. I'm not tipping for them to make me a goddamn cup of coffee. They ain't doing shit. Do your fucking job. You're not doing anything extra. It's not like I'm sitting down at the table and you're bringing me my cup of coffee to a table. I'm placing the order and I'm moving down the line and I'm sitting and waiting until you call my name. There's no fucking extra that you're doing there, right? If I go out to a restaurant and eat, and sometimes, and this is nothing that really chased my ass. So let's say I have my wife, my two sons, my mom, and my dad when he was still alive, right? So 6 people, be a party of 6. We would go into a restaurant to eat. And they would automatically put a mandatory 15 to 20% gratuity on my check, right? That pisses me off. Why should they get a mandatory gratuity on a party of 6 to begin with, right? And I have no say so because they could give me really shitty ass service, right? And their argument is, well, if you're taking up you're taking up extra whatever. If I have a party of 30 and I'm taking off a whole section and you've got to put 1 or 2 waiters in there to dedicate all their time to that group, all right, I'm with you. Because those people need to ensure that they're getting tipped to gratuity. I don't have a problem with that, right? But if I'm sitting with my family at a table of 6, fuck off with your mandatory gratuity, right? I don't have, where I live, there's no delivery drivers. I can't call Uber Eats. I can't call a pizza place, have something delivered. So I have to go get everything, right? But back when I did live where deliveries were a thing, right? If I called up and I asked to have something delivered to me, I always tipped the delivery person, right? Because to me, I understood that this person was getting a wage, right? But I was a pizza delivery person while I was in school. So I understand that, the time you pay for your gas and everything in that vehicle, your wages get ate up really quick because the company don't pay for the vehicle, right? You're having to pay for your own gas and your tires and your oil changes and insurance, all that shit, right? So you tip your fucking delivery drivers, right? I don't have a problem with that. Tip the people, right? Give them, but the thing of it is what you have to understand is this. And I understand why a lot of people are saying just factor it in. Like, for example, if you use some of these delivery services like Uber Eats or Grubhub or DoorDash or things like that, right? Which I have occasionally used when I've been traveling or whatever. Here's the thing that upsets me. You have to go through the app, whatever app it is, Grubhub, DoorDash, any of them, it doesn't matter. When you go through their app to order stuff, right, they have a price. Like if I will go, my wife wants chicken parm or chicken Alfredo or some shit, right? Okay. They're going to have a price inside that app for that chicken parm. If I go to the restaurant, to their website and check what the price is, guess what? That app marked up the price of that already. So they jacked the price there. Then they charge you a delivery fee. And a lot of them charge you, they'll put like a $2 what or something like that type, or $5, whatever it is, a percentage base gratuity on the order for the driver as well, right? Here's my question. Why are they jacking up the prices over what the restaurant charges, right? And charging me a fucking delivery fee that evidently the drivers don't get because they're tipping the drivers, right? And then I'm expected to tip the driver too. right? Because how many videos have we seen recently where a delivery driver is delivering, one of these whatever, and they get pissed because there's either a $2 or $3, $5 tip, whatever, or no tip at all, right? Above and beyond cash above that, right? I don't understand. Help me understand something here, because I don't understand this mindset or mentality that they're owed gratuity.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're just playing on the guilt, because you were saying that, and I order Domino's. I love Domino's. I know I live near the city and I should always order from like pizzeria places, but Domino's is consistent. Domino's in my area has a $5 delivery charge, which they put in red. Delivery charges are not paid to drivers, right?
Yeah.
And then they start the tipping at 15% of whatever your order is. So at minimum, I'm paying $8 just in the delivery in order. And it's like, so it's very like, just include it. And I know, because I used to have a friend that worked at Domino's like way back when, that the markup on the pizza is like 800% anyway. So like, pay your people. Don't make this my problem. Also just include it in the price. It pisses me off to see a $5 delivery charge. Make the pizza $5 more, but the psychological torture is unnecessary. I do like that I can see the pizza making its way to me, so that's exciting.
So, Seth, let me ask you a question. Where you live, do you have access to like people to deliver you pizzas or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you tip
so
them?
Do you tip those people?
Yeah, I do.
Why? They make a living wage. Why are you tipping them?
Because they're making like bare minimum, and I feel better when I tip them.
Okay.
How much do you tip them?
So usually, let me see here. For the delivery fee, it's like 50 kroner. So I usually tip about 20 kroner, which is like 30%.
Whoa. So they're charging you a delivery fee, right? The company is, whatever it is, right? Franchise, whatever companies deliver you. And then and the delivery drivers are making, at least 17, no, you said 100 crowns. Kronar. Okay, so they're making 100 kronar.
Crowns. It works.
Crowns. Okay, an hour, right? And they're probably in the lowest tax bracket, right?
Yeah.
So, and then you're still tipping them on top of that?
Yeah, but that's just my personal like. No one's gonna get mad at me for not tipping or nothing. That's just what I do because I make a lot of money.
So you're just trying to redistribute your wealth.
I guess so. Yeah, in a way. Well, that's because see, I barely just got out of being in university, right? So back then I made like no money and I was always like struggling, right? So I can kind of relate to someone who doesn't make a lot of money and is kind of struggling. So I'm like, I might as well give you a little bit extra when I have the money and, All
right.
Understand what you mean by struggling if y'all have a living wage.
Okay, well, my situation is a little bit different because cigarettes are really expensive and I need those to live.
I see. Addiction is the X factor
No,
here. I understand.
I just like struggling. I mean, like at the end of the month, it was like I'd have to live on like I could live, but it was on stuff that.
Whoa!
Like,
so you weren't able to eat chicken and had to eat like ramen noodles? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
At the end of the month, and had to like pawn stuff to make rent and imagination. You know what I mean? Like, that's college. You know?
Yeah. No, like I didn't have a lot, and I was like, I have a lot of money now, so I'm like, I might as well, like, it's not gonna be any skin off my back giving them 20 kroner.
When you're having to make macaroni and cheese with water because you can't afford milk and butter.
Yeah, like one
and it's
time,
not even the good macaroni and cheese. It's like the no brand. It's just a white box that says Well,
My
black lettering says
roommate-
macaroni and cheese.
My roommate is a goddess, okay? Because like, one time we had absolutely nothing, okay? And she somehow made pancakes by filtering water through nuts to make like fucking nut milk or whatever. Like that's the level of
You
poor
had
we were.
nuts?
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay, so um we had a bunch of nuts left over from Christmas that my parents gave me.
I see. But you also could have just eaten
Hang on.
those nuts and
You got
had
to
protein.
have
Well,
Christmas.
I'm allergic to nuts.
But you got to have Christmas.
Of course I get to have Christmas.
I don't
Mm.
know. Your pour still sounds better than my pour, Seth. That's all I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah, exactly.
It is better than your pour, which is what I'm saying. Like, it's not like we were starving or anything, but we were a little bit skinned, and I don't want that for anyone else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see that.
Anyway, so here's the thing. I don't necessarily disagree with. I guess if they would quote unquote, for lack of a better word, bury the fees right within stuff, I think it would probably be less irritating.
Oh, also, and this was
And
back
here's
when,
but here's like, for example, like pizza, right? If they should have two prices. If you order a pizza and you're going to go pick it up, it should be one price. But if you want to have it delivered, it's another price, right? And that price should cover any type of delivery fees that they're going to assess, and should cover, giving the pizza person, I don't know, whatever is a decent tip or whatever. I mean, I don't, like 20% of the order or whatever, I guess. I mean, but I don't know.
well, so speaking of fast food, one of the saddest things that is also true about America is that back when dollar menus were actually dollar menus, like it was much cheaper to have cheeseburgers than it was to have like food of any kind, right? And especially when you didn't know if you were going to have time to do it, or if you left something in the fridge, one of your roommates might decide. Like there were times where I would use $30 and I would buy like bread, eggs, milk, right? And I would wake up to my roommates having decided that they were going to make everyone breakfast, and I'm like, just like livid, and they don't have any money to replace it. Like it's shit like that where like, so I'm going to keep my money in my pocket and every day have a fucking McDonald's cheeseburger, and thus my health is garbage, and then this is my fault also. If I'm unhealthy, if I have high blood pressure or whatever else, right? It's my fault because I was too poor to have money to have like food that wasn't McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
So I think this is the whole living wage thing, like, and this is a thing where most of my jobs were retail or administrative. So I didn't have like tipping was not a thing. I had a fixed wage. Although I did still have a boss that stole from me. So like, you're fucked no matter what you do. Not just from me, from everybody. Story for another day. But and the people, my friends who did get tipping, like it was very variable. Some days, I made $300, and then there'd be like a week where they'd make $5 because it was raining that entire week. A new restaurant opened up and their restaurant was dying. The company cut their hours. Like the tipping thing, that's the other thing. How do you plan? How do you know how much money you're actually going to have for rent and things like that if it's not based on anything? Like I know some companies now do that where if you don't make a certain minimum, then they kind of loan you that amount and you pay it back over X amount of time. But I don't think that was a thing when I was younger. And that would still be super stressful to basically be borrowing money from the company I worked for. That's some fuck shit. Especially when you have to be there regardless. Whether I made $300 that night or $5, I'm going to be there
Yeah.
6 to 8 hours. So
All I'll say is back in the day when I was going to school and was delivering pizzas, I was making minimum wage, which back then it wasn't even 7.25. It was like, I don't know. I want to think it was like six something, 5.75. But I delivered pizzas and stuff. And I could deliver a pizza and say, most time, and you might get 2 or 3 at a time you take out, and probably could deliver them in, say 30 minutes or something like that total. It would make, $4 or $5 a pizza delivery. So, you made an extra $15 cash, right? And it was always cash tips. So, it wasn't nothing to make an additional, $30 an hour. And, you'd work 6, 7, 8, whatever it is, 7 hours of a night, so, it's like an extra couple $100 a day. So I don't know. I mean, it got me through college well, it wasn't college. It was, it was a tech school, whatever, but so I don't know, whatever. I guess tip if you want to, but I just don't like it being an automatic forced upon me. I think I should be able to tip based upon my experience of customer service, because that's the whole thing. They have to remember you're in the customer service industry, and if I'm, and if they don't do a good job, then I shouldn't have to fucking tip them. It's a contract. You do a good job, I tip you well. It's just that simple. So.
now we're way past tipping being optional, though. I remember one of my former partners, he would, when we were younger, he would do this. He would put his drink, he would always drink his entire drink right when we sat down, and he would put the empty glass at the end of the plate, at the end of the table, and he goes, and now we wait. And this would determine the person's tip. And I was like,
yes.
Are you serious? And here's the thing. It was indicative of whether the waiter or waitress was good or not. Like, if they were on it, 100%. They saw the cup, grabbed it, and everything was cool. When they were not on it, the service was just all around terrible. They usually got something in the order wrong. Like, I couldn't blame him for the cup at the edge of the table thing. It worked.
That has been my measuring stick ever since I was out and old enough to where I was paying for my own meals. 100%. I always take in consideration how busy the venue is, right? How many tables is that person having to take care of, right? But when I'd go into a restaurant and there's, basically that person's waiting on maybe 1 to 2, maybe 3 tops or tables, whatever, and it's not that busy, and I have to sit there and chew on ice because I can't get my glass refilled, guess what kind of tip they're getting? Nothing. And I don't care if they get the food out in a timely manner, or the quality of the food. That doesn't, no. The simple fact that I got to sit there and chew on ice. Now, I wouldn't just chug my drink down when I first got it, but I sit there, and if that drink, back then I drank sweet tea, if it hit the bottom, you ain't getting no tip. It's just that simple. It's just that you just ain't getting it. So
I have too much guilt. I can't tip nothing, but like I will go as low as 10% if you spit in my food. It's 10%.
I have tipped 0.
I can't do
many
it.
times.
And
there's been even sometimes, especially like if the restaurant was really, really basically dead, and the waiter, whoever it was, the service person, is just disappears, right? For 15, 20 minutes, and you're sitting there waiting, like, where's your food? What, is it sitting back there getting cold? What are, I've left notes on my ticket saying, you need to learn the definition of customer service, and put that on the tip.
Oh my gosh, you're a notes person.
I have, yes, 100%.
I've heard of the notes people. I've heard of the notes people.
I'm
See,
sorry.
this is why I could never get into being a waitress. I'm very like everything I'm thinking shows on my face, and it would be I have zero poker face. Like you would know that I was calling you a motherfucker without my lips ever
Guess
moving.
what?
You know what
I
I mean?
guarantee you, I'm sitting there calling them a motherfucker because I can't get my glass refilled and I can't get my food brought out to me in timely manner. You don't think I ain't calling them a motherfucker? You damn right I'm calling them a motherfucker. To me, what's more insulting? To leave no tip or do something really assholey and like leave a penny?
Yeah, that's also both of those things are pretty terrible.
And I've done that before too.
Well, thankfully for everyone, I have crippling social anxiety, so being a waitress is not in the cards for me.
All right, so what is the context in this next video that you're wanting us to watch of Katy Perry here? What is this context?
Oh, so when I was looking at the alien stuff, I found this clip that I had never seen before, and like I would like anyone to give me an explanation for what this is.
I can tell you what I think it is. So let's watch the video first.
Make even more noise for my band.
What do you mean? That's normal.
Yeah,
That's normal.
It is when you use too much of that glue to put those false eyelashes on.
Yeah,
But she didn't touch her eye though.
Didn't know.
She's
pulling back here to try to separate the glue rather than reach up here and touch her eye.
No.
Is this where you say she's like some sort of robot or some shit, and the
yes.
eye servo is
okay,
different?
I'm sorry, but even without sometimes my eyes will not fucking work, and I will just like poke myself a little bit, and it'll work.
All right, there you go, chat. There you go. Confirmed. Seth is the alien.
No.
Listen, what I saw this woman do was her eyelid close, and she went over here and reset something to make it open. That was a glitch. She's that in Men in Black where the little person was in the body and the ears came out. They were just preparing us for the truth, and that I believe. I think that movies show us things to prepare us for things to come. That's why The Simpsons has been telling us things for years, and Men in Black was just them saying, okay, let's show them some of the ones that are friendlies, the pug thing, the roaches, all that stuff. And then when it happens, they'll be like, oh, this was like from the movie, so we're fine. We know how to take care of them. We just need some guns, a little 90s Will Smith, bring out the original version. Because, Will Smith is also supposed to be a clone. He's one of the many clones. And yeah, that's what it is.
So did you ladies hear the great news?
The
phenomenal news? Phenomenal news. Augie RFC got his main Twitter account back.
Wow. Did he?
Yeah, Augie RFC is back. He is back. So yeah, I don't know if you noticed that, but he follows me. So,
I thought you said you didn't have any clout, Peepaw. I thought you said you didn't have any clout. What's this? Seems like Peepaw.
I don't have any clout. I have no clout left to give. Seth has sucked it all off of me.
Yep. I don't regret it.
Does Augie follow you, Seth?
No.
No.
Well,
I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm actually kind of surprised that he doesn't, because as edgy as she is, I mean, that's right up his damn alley. So.
I don't think I'm edgy.
Oh, you're hella edgy. What? No, ma'am, you're hella edgy.
You're
How am I
the
edgy?
If we were a boy band, you would be the bad boy, Seth. That's how
I
edgy
am a
you
bad
are.
boy, but that
100%.
doesn't make me edgy.
Okay.
Oh.
So I'm going to, this is kind of a surprise. The ladies don't know I was going to do this, but I wanted a woman's opinion on this. Okay. Now this is from the most recent now recording video that they put up. I want you guys to listen to this little section and then we're going to talk about something. Okay. This was from the video where they're going over the Smeeth allegations. There's like a 30-page Google Doc that was put out. It's like a novella on this damn thing. But anyway, go check out the video, watch it. It's really interesting. They did some really interesting stuff over there. And I don't want to ruin it other than to say they got Tipster and Keffels involved in this one. So just go check it out. But listen to this conversation here that the guys have, and I found it very interesting. And I wanted to get you ladies' opinions on this.
Smeeth, is it? God, all right. I'm gonna go through the mine again. Is it cheating to develop feelings for someone but not do anything about it, and then break up with the person that you're with, and then pursue that person? Is that really fucking cheating?
I don't.
So that's the question. So you're in a relationship with somebody, just to clarify the ground rules here. You're in a committed relationship with somebody. While you're in the relationship with that person, you start developing feelings for somebody else. And then
that's not cheating though.
Hang on. And then you break up and then you go immediately into this other person and start having a relationship with them. Okay.
If you broke up, then it's not cheating. It doesn't matter. Like, obviously you're emotionally not invested. Some people might say you're emotionally cheating by falling in love with someone else, but you didn't cheat if you're breaking up with someone and then doing something.
So you brought up a term there. What was that? Emotional cheating?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's like, you know how people, can text someone and flirt with someone while they're in a relationship or whatever, but they don't actually like physically go out to cheat? That's kind of what that means, that term. It's like if you're emotionally cheating on them, you're like, doing something you're supposed to do with your partner, only like being in love with them and flirting or whatever, and then you do it with someone else. Okay. But you're not like physically cheating.
All right. So Gigi, what do you think?
Okay, so before I even get into this, I want to say, people, I know you're going to roll your eyes at so many things I'm about to say. And that's fine. I'm prepared for it. I just want you to know that I know that this goes into eye roll territory, okay? So
hang on here. Let me get up here real close to the camera and let's see if I roll my eyes.
Okay. So part of my issue with this question, right, is that I consider myself to be a person who prefers ethical non-monogamy to traditional monogamy, and also to polyamory or polyandry, right? Polyamory being a man with multiple partners, and polyandry being women with multiple partners, right? So, what is cheating, I think, really is dependent on what you and your partner decide is within the rules of your relationship, right? And in my previous dating experience, that can be all sorts of things, right? Like, that might mean you're fucking everyone and your neighbor, and your relationship is totally cool. People, okay, it was no eye roll. Or it might mean that, hanging out too long with your male friends might be problematic. And so, for me, I can see why someone would have a problem with that if there was an expectation of something. But I also agree with Seth that if you were broken up, then at that point, all contracts, all agreements between you are null and void, right? Because the relationship has changed.
You guys are changing the parameters of the question.
Okay, so state the question again.
The question is if you are in a committed relationship with somebody and they start developing feelings for somebody else, right, during that relationship, as soon as they break up, they immediately run to that other person and then to get into a relationship with them, right? So my question is this, is if you're in a committed relationship with somebody, right? Or even if you're in a relationship such as you described, where it's a polyamorous relationship where you're both agreeable to allow you to go have physical relationships with other people, as long as, you know, you make your partner aware I am engaging. I think that's typically how it's done, right? You're not just allowed to go out and just bring home a different partner every night from the bar, right? I mean, that's, I'm sure there's got to be some boundaries there, right, to protect yourself physically. You know what I'm saying? So the question is this: is if they start developing feelings for somebody else, right, and they don't tell you about it, is that not cheating?
No.
So this goes back to like my definitions of the relationship again. So I stated earlier that I consider myself to be someone who prefers ethical non-monogamy, but currently I am in a monogamous relationship. Therefore, me and my partner have understandings of what is okay and what isn't, right? And if I felt that in our relationship we had established that should they develop feelings for someone else, they must tell me, then I could see how that's cheating. However, I also, this kind of feels like whoever's saying this assumes that developing feelings is a choice. Like, what if you had been quote unquote developing feelings and you didn't know? What if you yourself didn't know, and then one day you're like, oh, these feelings were not what I thought they were, and then I tell you.
Yeah, but isn't that the right thing to do, is to break up, right? If you fall in love with someone else, then you're clearly not in love with the other person, which means you should break up with them before you go out and have sex with them or
That
whatever,
assumes
right?
you can't be in love with multiple people at the same time. But I see.
Okay, well, that's right. Yeah, that's
okay.
on my part.
So I think you guys are still, to me,
not answering the question.
All right, Gigi, you said
My
right now
answer is
that
no.
Okay, Seth
My
says
answer is maybe.
Is maybe. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's what I will tell you. And I had a conversation because I asked my wife this same question, right?
Ooh.
So I don't know if this. No.
Insights from Mrs. Riz?
Sure. So, women, God, this is going to come across so fucking sexist, but I don't mean it to be, right?
All right, everybody get ready with your clippers.
Get ready to clip this, right? Clip this shit. So typically, women are known to be more emotional than what men, right? Men are not.
Bullshit. No, hold on. Pause. Bullshit. I will not let this stand. We just had a story on this episode about how a man got up in his feelings and threw 2 people over a bridge, but women are the emotional ones? Bullshit. Men are the emotional ones.
Hang on. Whoa. What did I say? I said, typically, women are noted to be more emotionally based people than what men are. I'm not saying that men cannot get emotional. I'm not saying that men can't get mad and react in an emotional way.
All right, I forgot. Tater Talk has entered the room, and men don't get emotional; they get passionate. I forgot.
What?
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Whatever.
I'm kidding. That was a joke.
So here's the okay. And this is my experience, right? If a man, right, is flirtatious with another woman or catches feelings for another woman outside of the relationship that he's in, right? More times than not, because men are visual creatures, that means that he is probably in some way he is going to be fantasizing about this other person, right? And that's where it brought up when Seth brought up the whole term there, emotional cheating, right? Most women would look at that. Not all. I'm not saying all, but most women would look at that as a betrayal of the emotional bond or the tie between her and her partner, right? However, if a woman does the same thing and develops, feelings or whatever for a coworker or whatever, right, and is flirtatious or what have you, a man won't look at that as being cheating or being. He looks at it as more as being disrespectful to him. He doesn't look at it as a cheating situation. Because again, pride, egos, things that men are, and men's egos are very, very, very fragile things. It's more of an ego thing, right? So in this situation, if she developed feelings for this other person, right? To me, logic dictates that that's probably where issues started arising and could have been contributory to why they probably broke up, right? Because if you're catching feels for another person, generally it means you're not happy in the relationship that you're in. And so things will start becoming problematic, I think is a term that is used these days. And all of a sudden you want out of the relationship, right? To me, I think it depends on the person. And I think a lot of women would look at that as emotionally cheating and guys wouldn't. But that's my kind of my thoughts on it. So
Okay, yeah. No, I like, you can't, as Gigi brought up, it's not a choice. You can't choose who you fall in love with or fall out of love with or whatever, right? But you can choose not to cheat. So if you fall in love with someone else and you go out of the relationship so you're not cheating, that is the right thing to do, right?
100%. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think even, even as a person who's willing to be flexible on what a relationship is or can be, I think that the issue is what are the boundaries of said relationship. Now, I also want to push back against, like, if you're catching feelings for someone else, that means the relationship sucks. I think sometimes it means the relationship sucks. I think sometimes it means that you're not getting all of your needs met from that person, which tends to be what people who believe in versions of non-monogamy believe, right? Which is one person can't be everything, right? That's the theory. And so who knows if, like, that person just wanted to explore and they knew this person. Honestly, the idea of someone being like, you had feelings for someone else while we were in a relationship, like, that to me is like, ugh, like, you're trying to control my thoughts. You're trying to control, like, a feeling that I had. Like, that's strange.
Yeah,
Like, that feels bizarre.
So
like,
I think whoever went out of the relationship to start a new one was in the right for not cheating. Like,
I agree. I feel
that's what
agree.
you're supposed to do.
So we have a question by one of our viewers. So is watching porn cheating?
Depends on the boundaries of your relationship, I guess.
Well, yeah, that. But if we're gonna say, like, in general, is porn cheating? Honestly, I think it depends on your partner. I feel like I've had partners with whom I felt porn is not cheating because it's more of a means to an end, and it wasn't like a reflection on me. And I've had other partners who then, like, wanted me to be more like a porn actress, and that I had an issue with, and that became kind of like, what are you doing? So yeah, I think it depends on the person if porn is cheating. I also think porn is very unhealthy for some people. I do think that sometimes it gives unrealistic standards. I've also heard this idea that porn is such a fantasy that, like, real sex can never live up to this, like, perfect fantasy kind of situation. And so you're just always disappointed by real sex. And that sounds like an awful existence, to just like only ever be able to really be satisfied by something that is 1,000% not real. See, now you're all really quiet, and like this is where you let me tangent off into like remember.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
Okay.
but I don't have any opinions on porn because I forget it exists.
You forget porn exists, but there's so
Yeah.
many cool porn parodies. Let me tell you, my current favorite porn parody to traumatize people with is
God.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And it's the Grinch and Cindy Lou
Listen,
Who.
lady, I get traumatized just by seeing naked people. Okay, I don't need your porn.
You can just Google it, and the screenshots are hilarious because
That's
like
okay.
somebody
I
wanted
will.
that. Somebody's like, I need to see it. The Grinch
The
and
only
Cindy
thing
Lou
I've ever
Who.
seen is that Pokemon one where it's just this woman with like a yellow like all over.
Misty.
Can we watch that clip?
No. So we're not
No,
watching. No.
Please, it's
So,
so funny.
We've got another clip here. This is one that Seth brought to us.
Okay.
It's centered around cigarettes, so imagine that. But nonetheless, here we go.
It gets me every time, dude. It's like, what did he think was gonna happen?
He shoots that thing like a missile. I mean, it's like a heat-seeking missile, man. It's just
like you see how she's strumming it like really like carefully, and it's kind of like she
it's
has
a
it
real gentle.
on the...
And he's out here trying to
And
do
he
a
just
power
goes,
chord. Bong!
Dude, what an idiot! Like, what did he think was gonna happen there? And that video gets me every time.
See, what I was hoping that
Oh,
was it started one way and then it went into Seth's little blue pills video. That would have
Yeah,
been
that would
amazing.
have been good.
So I've got one more last little thing. This is just kind of a funny to kind of end out the night with, and wanted to thank everybody for coming and hanging out with us this evening. So our buddy Bo Blacks puts out this tweet, says, "It's insane how many large content creators hate me for just reading tweets. Lol. I'm just chilling and they can't stand my existence." And so Keemstar comes in and says, "Victim energy, grow a set." And Josh says, "I learned from the best, Lamau." So
I don't understand why I'm still getting hate.
Mute that motherfucker!
So there you
It's so
go.
cringe that I don't have the soundboard.
It's cringe that you don't have the soundboard.
That's amazing. You know,
Well, Seth, if you continue to behave, maybe one of these days you'll get that privilege back.
I have behaved so hard.
That's because you haven't had it. And I knew right now, if I give it to you, you'd go bonkers with it again.
No, I wouldn't.
Chat.
I would like to point out that Seth has not only not said a slur on this recording, she has also not insulted any particular group the whole time.
Yeah.
That is true. She's been quite nice the last couple of episodes. I will consider it between now and Sunday, letting you have access back to the soundboard, Seth, because Gigi does bring up a very good point. You have been a very, very well behaved, and I acknowledge that. So,
Okay, yeah, good.
Anyway.
Good. I've worked really hard.
I just realized that Peepaw almost said that Seth was a good girl, and that was definitely gonna get clipped. And I heard it. I heard it in my head.
Listen, I cannot say Seth's a good girl because everybody knows that Seth is not a good girl. She's wicked. She's a wicked little girl is what she is.
But how can you say that about me? Have you seen my profile picture?
I've
True.
seen your
Very
profile
adorable.
picture. Not only have I seen your profile picture, I have heard about some of these DMs that you've been in, young lady.
Which ones?
We're not talking about that.
Okay.
can't-
Listen, I'm only in Jalen's DMs. I'm a woman now.
Excuse me. So you're telling me you went in Bunny Buttons DMs?
I wasn't in the DMs. It was just me and Maggot were talking, and they said that if I ever needed two very beautiful girls, they were around, and I said, yeah, it was all public.
Okay. Anyway. Well, ladies, I don't have anything else to
Although
discuss tonight,
Bunny,
so.
my DMs are open. I'm just saying.
Oh, me.
Now, if I
don't
did
know.
have to watch porn, which I wouldn't do because I do not condone
Yeah.
porn in any shape or form,
Okay.
I would watch Bunny.
Would you?
Yeah.
You know what? I don't do the porn thing either. But if I did, I don't think I could watch Bunny simply because I look at her, as kind
Max,
of a friend.
dude, Max in the chat. Bunny isn't porn. It's art. That's right. Like,
It's
she's a
art.
beautiful woman. I'm like,
Yes.
if I were to
Yes.
watch her, I'd feel like I'm just like supporting a very beautiful woman who's good at what
Well,
she
the problem is that it's kind of like that thing. I don't want to see my friends naked.
I don't
And
want
that's
to see
kinda how I
my
looked at
friends
that.
naked either, but if they're like really open. Oh, actually, I've seen like my roommates naked and shit, Like, and it's never been anything sexual. It doesn't have to be.
I understand, but
I
her.
see some of my friends naked. It's pretty normal,
What is that? What is Max yapping about? Mona Lisa naked though, people? No. Mona
How do you
Lisa
know
naked.
she wasn't? Maybe that smile or smirk is because she's pantsless below the waist.
She could have been receiving cunnilingus. I don't know. I just don't want to see. To me, honestly, seeing a friend naked is right up there to equivalency of like seeing your parents naked. I just don't want to see it. And if you do, you can't ever get that shit out of your head. I know.
Okay, I don't know. It's just
You're
like
weird, people. It's just look, there
Yeah.
it is. Huh.
It's
What do
just
you
like
mean I'm
naked.
weird?
It
I'm
doesn't
not
have
weird.
to be weird or sexual.
It doesn't have to be sexual. It's awkward.
It's not awkward.
Well, I'm sorry. My Southern Baptist roots, the way I was raised, it's weird and awkward, and I don't want nothing to do with it.
Cungalitis is the name of my ska band I was in high school.
That doesn't
I'm
surprise
glad.
me.
I'm glad someone noticed. I'm glad someone noticed.
I feel like if I happen to see a friend naked, my reaction has always been like, oh. And then I just go back to what I'm doing. Like I might have gone, oh, so that's why her tits look that good in her shirts. Or hey, I didn't know he was packing. And like I don't know why it has to be a whole
Yeah, like listen, people, I'm bisexual, okay, but like seeing my homies naked, like when my roommate like comes out of the kitchen fucking naked or whatever, it's just like, oh, she's naked, cool. And then I walk into the kitchen to grab my coffee. There's nothing about it.
Yeah, also, like, can I just, if I could speak for one moment
You
on
can speak
behalf,
for as long as you want. Go ahead.
on behalf of big-titted women everywhere, topless is the way to go most of the time. I'm happy. People around me tend to be happy. I don't see why this is a problem, people. Normalize nudity.
I'll tell you what, because I guess I'm just very old school, and I'm very modest, and I just can't. So, and let's be just real honest about this, right? Nobody wants to see me without any clothes on. Nobody.
Well,
Okay,
I don't specifically not want to see you without any clothes on. You know?
Yeah, yeah.
If
Because it would be
you
awkward,
were
right?
no,
but I
you-
don't. I don't
yes.
have a want. Listen, what you're saying is
I
she
don't-
doesn't have
yes.
a want to see you naked, but like she wouldn't be like offended if you were naked.
Yeah, like if I
I
was
would
at a
be.
but okay, let's say I came to a nude beach and you happen to already be at said nude beach, I'd be like, oh hey, it's Peepaw.
No.
I guess we have similar tastes in nude beaches. And then I'd go about my nude beach activities.
Well, darling, Peepaw will never be at a nude beach. It's just,
Well,
Lord.
but what
Last
if
time-
we met a donation goal, Peepaw? And you
What
just
the
have
fuck
to
is
tell us.
clown
Let me tell you
clown
something.
Reynolds syndrome? What is that, DMax?
Hang on,
I don't even
DMax
know what
tip
that is.
tip $5 says take your shirt off for me. No, DMax, I am not taking my shirt off for you, publicly
How much
or privately.
But how much of a donation goal for this to happen, Peepaw? Because listen, Chris Denark owes Game & Witch a refund. He said he would take his shirt off. He did not. He was given the money. So what are we to say? $500, Peepaw? Think
No.
of how much good you could
No.
do for the community, Peepaw.
What, to be naked or to take my shirt off?
Take your shirt off.
No. None. There's not a
I
there's not a
don't
figure.
know.
There's not a
But
figure.
but think of how much good you could do with $600, Peepaw.
I don't care
Why
if it
is-
was
why
$6
is
million.
he's Jewish- Wait, why is he's Jewish trending?
Why is I don't know. I don't know.
What about a
No, no. DMax, you're gonna have to describe that term used, clown Reynolds syndrome, because I can't Google it because I'm scared of clowns.
Okay, so clown Reynolds syndrome is a virus that he actually picked up from Bunny Buttons, and what happens is now whenever he tries to look at a woman's breastises, he sees framed pictures of Burt Reynolds, so he has
Burt
lost the
Reynolds.
ability to see boobies.
Who's Burt Reynolds?
Wow.
What the fuck? You don't know who the? Oh my God, Seth!
Oh, the actor. This actor, I've seen him.
That's tragic. I
He
would
was
be
in
very
Boogie
sad.
Nights. That's a good movie.
I would be very
About
sad
that.
if I lost the ability to see tatas. That would be sad.
He was also
I might- I
in
might
Smoking the
honestly have
Bandit,
that.
which is a great movie.
Yeah, I might honestly have that because, like, I don't see titties.
You don't see titties? Oh my God!
I don't see titties. I just see anatomy.
Aren't titties part of anatomy? I'm confused.
No. Like, I
You're
don't see
missing
them.
out because titties are great.
I mean,
All
I get
titties.
it. Titties are great or whatever.
Big ones, small ones.
That
mean,
is
that's
Burt
cool.
Reynolds.
Yeah.
Burt Reynolds
I like
was
Burt
was a
Reynolds.
handsome man. He's a handsome man.
Burt Reynolds.
Love Burt
is good.
Reynolds. Love Burt Reynolds. And that mustache. Holy shit! I'm so envious of that damn mustache. I mean, that's almost as good as Tom Selleck mustache. Not quite, but it's close. God dang!
I feel
I'm
like
jealous of that
he's
mustache.
he's one of the people are thinking of when they're talking about handlebar
No.
mustaches.
No,
No, that's not long enough.
Yeah, handlebars actually come back up and curve around. That's just
I'm trying to make a sitting on his face joke, and there's one here somewhere. I just can't quite find it. If somebody would like
Okay,
to
well-
help me out in the chat.
You know who has a great mustache? Justin Wang, dude. His mustache is my favorite mustache of all time.
Justin Wang, isn't he part Japanese or all Japanese?
I don't know. He's some kind of Asian, but he has a good mustache.
I find
There
that
you
hard
go.
to believe.
yeah. So there you go. Who wants a mustache?
Mustache try. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Not me.
But
Can I
that's Tom
say-
Selleck. That's a Tom Selleck, and I mean that's you. That is the epitome. That is the pinnacle of a manly mustache right there.
I will say my biological father, had a mustache for as long as I knew him, and therefore I have never dated someone with a mustache. I hate it. I don't think it looks good. I don't know what that's about.
I'll tell you
I
another.
prefer a clean face. I'll take a beard. Mustache,
here-
no thank you.
Here's this is handlebar mustaches. That's a handlebar, GG. See, so that just gives you something to hold on to. Yeah, the handlebars you grab.
Yes.
Can I just say, I don't
I'm
like
sure-
beards. I don't like beards because personally I don't care about the look, but it's like cheating. Because it's like you hide half your face so people don't know what your face looks like.
I agree. Can I say men complain about women and their makeup? Can I complain about men and their beards? Trying to draw a fucking jawline? Rude. Rude is what it is. Or not rude. If you're okay with women having makeup, then I'm okay with men having beards. But let's not pretend like both sides don't do this. That's all I'm saying. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that makes me feel queasy.
I love it.
I don't.
What's that actor's name again? Sam.
That is Samuel Elliott.
Samuel. Yeah, he's great.
He's got a really good beard too, or mustache rather. So anyway,
What's the other one? Oh, that's known for the mustache. Right? Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck.
Sam
Those are the
Elliott has
two.
a really good one.
Hitler, famous mustache.
God.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna, we should just rename it the Michael
Nick
Jordan.
Offerman. Nick Offerman.
Nick Offerman. I do love me some Nick Offerman. He's cool. He's a cool guy.
Steve Harvey also has a
Steve Harvey.
very nice
Oh yeah,
mustache as well.
the other day, R.I.P. Steve was trending, and I still don't know who the Steve that actually died was, because all I saw were people tweeting about how they saw R.I.P. Steve Harvey and R.I.P. Steve, and immediately thought it was Steve Harvey, and were happy or relieved to find out that it wasn't Steve Harvey. And I'm like, yes, but who is the Steve? Who is the Steve that did die? I never found out. Thanks, Twitter. I'm sorry.
I think it was like
X.
I think it was like a sports coach. I think is who that, because I remember seeing that too. I think it was like a sports, but I don't do sports, so I really couldn't answer you.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
true. Hulk Hogan. That's another good one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So guys, we've done 2 hours. I think that's more than enough for tonight. I'm pretty much done.
Too long.
So any closing thoughts before we get out of here tonight on any of the topics, guys?
Aliens are real. They're
Mhm.
out there. X-Files was preparation. Everyone should have a towel.
There you go.
And a buddy.
Seth,
Buddy.
any
Jalen.
closing thoughts?
Yes, I am going to go play Minecraft with my lady.
There you
The
go.
discos. I might make instant ramen. Very delicious. Delicious. Ice cream, so good.
Oh God, shut up, Seth. We're not doing that. God. Oh, you're such a nut sometimes, I swear.
Wait,
Anyway.
hold on. We haven't. I'm sorry. We have to talk about this. What is it you don't like about cows?
Oh yeah.
I don't. Okay.
Explain
there's
this.
noth-
It was
okay.
in the title.
All right. So, of course, there was always the cow mutilations or whatever, right? And so we were talking about. Seth said, she goes, "Oh, let's have cows in the picture, because I've never got to draw a cow, and I love cows and they're so sweet." I said, "Cows are not sweet," and she goes, "Yes, they are." And I said, "No, they're not." I said, "You haven't worked too many, cows then." And then she talked about dairy cows, and I don't know about dairy cows because I never worked in dairy cows, but I've worked a lot of beef cows, and beef cows are crazy.
They're crazy because their fucking friends are getting slaughtered and shit, and they know, dude. They know.
They
Them
feel it in
motherfuckers
their cow
hard.
souls.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know where veal comes from?
No, I don't know what veal is.
Dairy cows. Veal is the calf, is the meat from a calf that's from dairies. dairy farms.
Okay, well, I didn't see any of that. Okay, listen. I grew up on a dairy
Mhm.
farm. I went out and I
Mhm.
went into the field, and in the summer
Mhm.
they'd all be laying there in the field
Mhm.
because it was
Yeah,
hot and they didn't want to stand or whatever. And I would
I
pet
get
them, and
that.
they'd be all cute and happy.
Yes, but I'm telling you, beef cattle don't work that way. Because here's the difference: dairy cows are brought into. I mean, they're in a routine, right? They come into the barn every twice a day to get milked, and they know the routine. So, and they're used to being touched, and they're used to being handled by humans and all that, and interacting with them. Beef cattle are not that way. Beef cattle are out, and they're on the out running in the whatever in the fields and what have you. They're gathered up once a year, and they give them their vaccines, and they work them and all that kind of stuff, and they brand the new calves, and so they can keep track of them, put tags in the ear because they have to be able to track them, and they have to know who was the sire and who was the dame, or the well, it's not sire and dame, it's who's the bull and who was the cow, its parents, so they can track because it's very, they have to keep all these records and stuff. And so, but they're not worked, they're not handled. And so they're wild. And, when you start trying to work them, put them through the squeeze gates and stuff, so you can control them to give them their medications and all that kind of stuff, they get crazy. Now, if it's a smaller farm and they work, they interact with and they're more treated like pets than livestock, then yeah, I could see them being not as wild and crazy. But these large beef farm stuff, they get crazy.
Dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. I've walked through I've walked through the countryside, and there's been like
Yeah.
cows just sitting near the fence. And if you're like, hey, come over here, let me pet your ass, they usually come over and let you pet them. They're sweet.
Okay, well,
Yeah, I kind of feel like you're saying, well, I've met cows in this stressful situation and they were kind of rude. And that's like, and therefore cows are rude. I feel like cows are probably pretty nice, gentle creatures,
No.
but under certain situations, they're assholes. Like
They're mean because
everyone
you're
else.
mean
No.
people.
Exactly. I agree
No.
with that, Ben.
No, not at all. I'm not
No,
mean.
that's true.
Where the hell did you get the
You
idea
must
I'm
be
mean?
mean. How come
I don't know.
how come when I'm chilling with my cows and shit, they're all cool, we all eat grass, we all be just sitting there, but when you're with them, they're all crazy. How's that?
I'm with DMax. All I'm hearing is Seth likes to pet cow ass.
I know, me and Saitama
they have
talked
to
it
guess.
over, and we think Peepaw just hasn't met the right cows, or maybe you just need to be nicer to the cows, people.
Yeah.
Maybe so. Maybe I'm just
You
too
need
mean.
to put your
and-
biases behind you and start petting some cows.
Okay. Yeah. Hashtag not all cows.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Not all cows are the same, people.
Hashtag not cow. Exactly.
Yeah.
So. All right. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thanks for everybody
Wait,
for
no one's
tuning in.
gonna bring up the fact that chocolate milk comes from chocolate cows.
No.
It's true, guys.
That's not where chocolate milk comes from, darling.
It's
Yes,
not
it
true.
is. I saw the
Although
commercial.
blue milk comes from blue cows.
Yes. And strawberry milk comes from strawberry cows. So there
Yes.
you go. And evidently, Seth gets her milk from nuts. And on that note, we're going to get out of here. So remember, guys, to always keep your powder dry and look for us in the funny papers.